Good morning, Yorkshire Classic, well, double hot rats. Good afternoon, Yorkshire Classic Cars Limited fans, and welcome to the Yorkshire Classic Cars Limited YouTube channel. Start off first, hope you saw my Street Weekend video. That's more of a private video, obviously, for what we did on Street Weekend with my car. I'm now back, and although it seems to have taken about a week to get over everything, it has. And I'm back here, and I haven't done a workshop update for ages, so I thought I'd show you what I'm up to. Usual sort of stuff, really. In today is a TR4. TR4 is one of my favourite cars, favourite Triumphs, certainly. I used to think these looked really old-fashioned, with the old-fashioned style headlamps and bonnet. But I've got to say now, maybe it's because I've got older and maybe I just appreciate them more, but I love driving them. They're not the fastest TR in the world, but they go really nice, and they're really nice and balanced, and they work really well. Can anybody in the comments section tell me what other vehicle that engine was fitted to? This little 2-litre 4-cylinder petrol. I will give you 10 golden Doug points, which sounds a bit weird, really, to be fair. Now I'm saying it out loud, but that is the little petrol engine in there. Obviously, the later cars, the 5s and 6s, 5As, 6s and that, they all had the straight 6 PI engine in, unless you're in America or Australia, in which case you will have a 6-cylinder with carburetors on it. In the UK, these all had carburetors on, Strombergs, as you can see. I've driven this car, and although the paintwork it's actually filthy, it's pretty good on this side. The other side's got a few issues with the paintwork that he's just debating what to do, because the guy who owns it just really likes it. And he isn't really bothered about spending millions of pounds, he just wants to get some driving in. It's an import, but as you'll see, it's a right-hand drive import because it came from Australia. And that means that the bodywork, although some of it has a couple of issues with the door gaps here and there, but I don't know if that's factory, quite honestly, because the bodywork is exceptionally good. If I take you over here, you can see all the inner wings and everything, where they rust, down in the corners, all up there, look, all under the master cylinders. Even that is good. I appreciate the paint is dull. And the reason for that is he had it imported a few years ago. And he got it serviced, and he got it MOT'd and got the Nova documents and everything, but he's never actually finished getting it registered for the road, which is what he's going to do this week, and then he can start and use it. I think it's a real shame if he doesn't, quite honestly, because it is a really nice car. Now, the other car I've done this week is a red TR6, and it actually happens to belong to the same fella. And I've got to say, this is a nicer drive than the TR6. And not that there's anything wrong with the TR6 either. It's all on Coney suspension and everything. But yeah, hence why there's no number plates on it. It's been MOT'd but then stored for a couple of years. So what I'm doing is giving it a good going over, just make sure it doesn't need anything doing. So apart from cleaning the distributor a little bit, topping up the brake fluid and the radiator, there's not a lot really needs doing. But as you can see, it's pretty clean in there. I really like it. The boot floor and everything is like brand new, but I won't bore you with looking at that. The wheels have gone a little bit rusty, but I said I'd probably powder coat them and paint them silver if it were mine, but you know, it's not. Bring you over to the Stag. Can't remember if this was where I was on the last update. You'll see that the inner sill is all done on this side and painted, and the outer sill is all painted, as you can see. And the jacking points and everything are in there. I don't put the genuine jacking points back in. I just put facsimiles in. You shouldn't jack up on them anyway. They're not strong enough, so there's no real loss there. That fell off the shelf. That's nothing to do with the Stag, but that's ready to go on as soon as I've got some of the other cars out of the way. Now then, the Stag video I did, the Stag video I got as far as the inner sill on the other side, and the outer sill I think I haven't done yet, but I aren't sure if I managed to video it all. Basically, I've done all the drivers are offside. It's all finished. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and edit that outer sill video, and if it's not really, if I've missed bits or glossed over it, because sometimes I get in the zone and just forget to turn the camera back on. So if that's the case, then I will do a really in-depth video on this side, and then at least you've got a good video of not only fitting the sill and how to fit the sill, but also on what to do after that. So things like the B pillar and the A pillar and all that, and how to fabricate all that and put it back in. I know I didn't video that, but I will do that. I'll do what's necessary so you can see me doing it. Excuse my bearded appearance and looking homeless. Going back down the workshop, ignore that for a second. That is a Rover V8. That's the Rover V8 for the yellow Stag. It's now back from machining. I am just waiting for Real Steel to get some piston rings in stock for the pistons. The crank polished. It's absolutely immaculate. The crank is beautiful. Obviously, this is just transit oil. It's greased just to protect it. The engine comes back in the machining oil. So this is machine oil that's in it with all the particles of steel and damage and metal and all that sort of stuff. So before you ever build an engine and or a crank, I mean, this is all grease, this crank. This is just muck that's stuck to it. But I go through that and clean each component thoroughly before I put it together. That includes the rods, the pistons, the crank, all these holes I will whiz out with a brush, and the engine I will take a couple of days to clean the block, just to make sure any metal filings, anything like that, are well and truly out of it. And I do that with paraffin first off, and I blast it through one of those little pressure guns. I got mine from Aldi. They don't have to be anything spectacular. And I'll put 2 or 3 gallons of paraffin through it, then hot soapy water, and then I'll use panel wipe. And then I use that panel wipe, and that dries all the grease and oil and muckety muck up. And then I will just rub some clean oil into the bars with a cloth and anywhere that needs protecting. That's steel, basically, because this is an aluminium block. Then once I've done that, I'll paint it, but I may build it and then paint it. I haven't decided that yet. But it's imperative that it's clean. So basically, clean it until it's perfectly clean, then clean it twice more. That's the rule of thumb that I was told many years ago, and it absolutely stands by it. So that is basically ready to go back together, and that will be next week's job, all being well if I can get the rings. We'll briefly skip across this LM7 here. This is basically the cast iron version of the LS1, 5.3 litres. Again, bob in the comments, if you've watched this far, bob in the comments where you think that's going to end up and what's going to happen to it. But I'll let you work it out. It's mine. We'll come back to that. Up on the ramp, I have this, the lesser spotted Sierra Cosworth. Beautiful car in black. The gentleman who owns it doesn't mind me putting it on social media, but he doesn't want the registration put on there for obvious reasons. I will say it's 40,000 mile, one owner car from new. There's nothing really to show you on that at the moment. It's gone off. It came in with a blowing exhaust manifold gasket. And I said to him when he brought it in, I said, it's one of them with that. It shouldn't just be blowing. So it could be something else. Anyway, it could be a cracked manifold. It could be the turbo manifold gasket. It could be anything. So anyway, stripped off the manifold, which was an absolute pain because the 2 nuts, at some time, somebody has tightened those to about 70 foot-pounds to try and stop it blowing. I don't know if it's a garage he's had it serviced out or whatever, but wherever, somebody's done it. Anyway, when it came to take it off, that made it a real task, quite honestly. And if you've ever removed the turbo and exhaust manifold from a Cosworth, it is not what you class as an easy job. When I took it off, I put a straight edge across it just to check it, cleaned it up. And you can see as soon as you start to clean it up, there's parts in it. Excuse me, I've got thunderbugs in my nose. As soon as you start to clean it up, you can see areas in it that aren't being touched by I use a flat block, a smooth flat block and some abranet, basically because it doesn't leave sandpaper sand behind. And I use that, quite a mild 320 abranet, and I'm cleaning it up and you can see where it's blown. So I put a straight edge across it and it's warped about probably 1.5 millimeters, 1/16 of an inch, something like that. So that manifold has gone off at the moment to be milled flat or lanished flat, whichever it ends up getting done, because it's an oddball shape and it's difficult to clamp on a mill and all that sort of stuff. So as soon as that's back, it's just ready to be reassembled. It's all cleaned up, ready to rock and roll. The turbo's all ready to rock and roll. So that's just basically the job is half finished. But until I get the manifold back, nothing I can do. Next job, come in for a few little electrical tasks. Basically is the red 2.8 injection Capri. The owner will be loving seeing this on YouTube. How do, mate? So this is a beautiful car. I say that to a lot of people about their cars, but this one is really beautiful. You'll notice it's ingratiated with a 5.7 litre 350 Chevy small block, early 4-bolt main with a 276 hydraulic cam in it. And it's quite wild, but it's also beautifully built. There are little bits I'd do differently, but there's nothing, absolutely nothing wrong with it at all. It's got dusty, because every car here does. Still in its grey Recaro interior, always cleaning stuff because it comes straight from the show. Beautiful RS 3-spoke wheel. And you'll notice a manual transmission. It's got the R154 from a Super Turbo in it, which makes it a really nice drive. Ginormous clutch. And it's been in a couple of times for little jobs, just tiny stuff really, blowing exhaust headers and stuff like that, clutch adjustment. But yeah, it's a really sweet ride, that. Right, so you'll notice behind me, you see that? See that on the floor? That's a lesser spotted gap. In my workshop at the moment, it's packed out, which is why my Capri isn't here. If you watch the Street Weekend video, the intro shows you'll hear the noise in the intro, and basically the upshot is the gearbox exploded. I knew I was pushing my luck with that gearbox. I'm going to do a full video on the what actually happened to the gearbox, because I'm interested to find out for myself. It was functioning perfectly, but it did come out of a 2.8 injection Capri and was bought off eBay with no history whatsoever, so I don't know what it's been through. The old gearbox I had behind my Rover V8 originally in previous life in that car. Dad and I rebuilt that when I was about 20, and we put new bearings in it. So whether the bearings had a bit of wear in them and it's let a gear climb and therefore stripped all the gears and teeth off, I don't know. But basically, as soon as I've got a free day, minute, hour, I can bob that back into work, get it up on the ramp and get the gearbox out. It burnt all the way through Street Weekend. And I haven't mentioned this on that video, but I spent 2 days before that doing the head gaskets, and it didn't burn oil before that, and it does burn oil now. And everybody's saying, oh, your turbo's gone, it's your oil fluid on your turbo, it's this, it's that, it's the other. And it's like, well, it all worked before. So when I've done the head gasket, I've done something wrong. I was rushing, I was tired, it was late in the night because I had to take the engine out and drill the head bolts out, which basically made me cry a little bit, and I did rock back and forth like this. During worrying about it, getting it to Street Weekend. Then it started misfiring. That turned out to be nothing once I found the fault. But yeah, I compression checked it before I went, because I thought with ARP head studs, maybe the heads were lifting a little bit before on boost and saving the engine. There's full compression on every cylinder. It's all good. So there's nothing wrong with it really, the engine. It's just got oil coming through it. I've checked the valve stem seals. It's not them. It's not putting a lot of oil into the rocker covers. I don't know if the breather is blocked on the tank for the breather tank. So I don't know. A friend of mine said not to run a filter on it, and I have. And I'm wondering if it's got covered in muck and filth, and it's actually it doesn't seem to pressure in the crankcase, but it does need to breathe a little anyway. There will be some pressure. The turbo oil drain looks good. I don't know if the actual turbo's gone itself, but there's no oil pumping through it. It's not wet oil in there when it's running, so I have literally no idea. I think it needs the heads back off. It could be the intake gasket. I could have just trapped something in the head. It could have just been a complete oversight, a washer, a nut. Something is trapped in there and it's letting oil come straight into a cylinder. Don't think it is. I'm pretty bloody careful even with my own car, but it could be, and that could be it. Also, the gearbox has left me with a quandary. I have several gearboxes here. I have a Power Glide for a Chevy, obviously, small block Chev, which will end up behind probably the LMLS. I have a 350Z gearbox, but it belongs to the 350Z engine, which is for my Skyline. So it's all a bit of a quandary, really. So I don't want to put the original plan was buy another Capri gearbox in it, put some less grippy tyres on and just send it for a year or two. But with hindsight, I don't want to spend a lot, purely because basically that engine is limited now, because obviously you've worked out, if you watch this far, the LM is going in the Capri and I'm batting for a lot more power. So basically I don't want to spend sort of £6,000 on an LSX gearbox or something ridiculous like that, which I know would take the pain, but I don't know whether it's worth the gain for that sort of money to then sell it on and lose a load of money. So what I've ordered is a ZF8 HP out of a Jaguar 3 litre. So it's an HP 70, which is supposed to be good for, I think, 700 or 800 Newton meters of torque. So the word on the street, or on the interwebs at least, is they'll take at least 1,000 Newton meters. So what I'm thinking is, if I can adapt that for the Rover for the time being, you can buy a kit to just put it straight on the back of a Range Rover engine. So it's a Range Rover engine, so that's good. The torque converter remains the same. So if I put a higher stall converter in, I can still use it in the Chevy. Because you can buy a kit to go behind an LS, LM1, LT1, whatever you want, really, because that's just a Chevy bolt pattern on the back of that. So I'm joining the sequential gear change revelation where you can just control the mechatronic box in it. But I'll go through a bit what I'm going to do with that once I've worked it out in my own head. Again, don't want to spend millions of pounds. Want to get it all done and back on the road. But what I'm thinking is if I can put that box in and it will work for the Chevy, then all I have to do is get it installed. And then when the Chevy goes in, take the adapter plate off, put the new adapter plate on, and boom, bolt it back up, and Robert's your father's brother. So that's sort of the plan at the moment. So you can use those with an outside gearbox control unit. You use those as a sequential box, and they will sport shift or they will slow shift. And of course, you've got 8 gears, and I think 3 of them are overdrive gears. So, you know, for things like long journeys like we did on the street weekend, would have been absolutely great. Also, you can run a lower gear ratio in your back axle, which means for the lower gears, you're getting better acceleration. So I think it might be a winner-winner chicken dinner. We'll see. It might be a disaster, but if I've got a couple of £1,000 in it, I'm prepared to give it a go. Let's see how that works out. It might all go to nothing, in which case I've spent £300 on a gearbox that I sold back again on eBay for whatever I get. So, yeah. Anyway, I'll sign off there because I've loads of work to do. I've got to finish the TR4 because he's coming for it in a couple of hours. And yeah, I'll see you later. Next video will be a Stag sill video. It'll probably be the other side. If not, it'll be this side. Can't do any welding until the Cosworth is off the ramp and gone. But yeah, drive fast, be careful. Thanks, bye.